Good morning.
Good morning.
I had to get the name right. Mountain Andrews All Nations Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Yes.
So good to be here with you this morning. I'm Magna Porterfield, and
Good morning, happy Sabbath. I'm Ron Porterfield, and I have the privilege of being here this morning with my beautiful wife. It is a privilege, it's a blessing to be in the house of the Lord, that we can worship together on this beautiful, sunshiny, very cold day. But we thank the Lord that we feel the warmth of His love here.
Amen. You might be wondering, why would we be talking about families in the Bible, lessons for our time? This is a health weekend, right? You're probably wondering how that all fits. Well, I'm a psychologist. My husband is a lifestyle consultant. And I've been in the field of psychology for many years. I'm not going to tell you how long, because then you'll be able to know how old I am. But I've been in it for a while. And I've been exposed to many families who are struggling. I've had teenagers that I've seen and counseled. I've done a little marital counseling. And my heart hurts, especially for our Seventh-day Adventist families. This morning we're going to do something that some may or may not like, I don't know. I'm not going to come with you with a lot of psychological information just this morning. If you come back for our other sessions, you'll hear more of that. But this morning we were impressed to do something based on the Bible and the inspired writings that we have. And I hope that'll be okay with you. Because there is a wealth of information and a wealth of lessons we can learn right from the Bible from some of the families. Mostly bad, but some good. So we're going to just go through with you and read some verses and share some quotes from Spirit of Prophecy. Is that okay? Okay. About some things that we can learn from lessons from our families in the Bible. Lessons for our time. So I pray that you will be blessed. And I want to encourage you to come out from our other sessions. This afternoon I'll be sharing some things that we can learn from Jesus about mental health, his life, and his teachings. My husband will be talking about what we can get from, what's the topic again? I forgot.
Well, we'll have to go back and find out.
And then tomorrow he'll be doing some demonstrations on natural remedies and some simple hydrotherapy things you can do in your home. And I'll be talking about the topic of self-control, and then we'll end on Monday. So I pray that you will come out for our seminar. And we want to thank the Shingles for inviting us. They've been a blessing. Let's start with prayer.
Yes. Again, Father, we are privileged to be in your presence, Lord, and we ask for the moving of your Spirit right now, Lord. We believe that there are perhaps some that are here that may be distracted by other things, Lord, and that happens so easily these days, Lord, that we have a barrage of other concerns that threaten to press in on us, even on your Sabbath day. But Father, we pray that you would help us put all those things aside, even as the enemy of our soul wants to distract our minds. We pray that you would draw our attention to the message that you have for all of us. We can only do this by the impress of your Holy Spirit. So we pray that you would touch each and every heart in just the way you want it to be impressed, from the youngest to the oldest. We ask this all in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, families in the Bible, lesson for our time. Elder Shendel read from Genesis chapter 18, verse 18. We want to go there again and read it again. Genesis 18, and we'll begin with verse 18. Are you there? Oh, all right. It's a good thing to, when you ask someone a question and you hear an answer. That's risky, because sometimes you hear too long of an answer, but almost as nice and short. Very good. All right, Genesis 18, verse 18, I'm going to begin. Well, I see our feet still turning, so I'll wait just a couple minutes. Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of the Lord to do justice and judgment, that the Lord may bring upon Abraham that which he hath spoken of him. Now, notice in this passage, it's very important because we are recognizing, and the Lord is letting us know that Abraham did what? What did Abraham do? He commanded his household, is that right? Okay, question answers up top. Anyway, we see here that he commanded his household after the order of the Lord. And here we see that it says that he shall keep the way of the Lord. So, friends, even as my wife was mentioning earlier, we see that Satan is attacking the families. Why would he attack the families? Because, yes, true, but it is the families that make up God's church. Is that right? I mean, if you look around you, you see that God's church is made up of families. So the way you can destroy God's church is to destroy his families. And the way you destroy families is by destroying individuals. All right? Let's we're going to some inspired thought right here. It says this from Patriarchs and Prophets. You see that? Yes? It says a well-ordered Christian household is a powerful argument in favor of the reality of the Christian religion. An argument that the infidel cannot gainsay. In other words, when the non-believer, here called the infidel, when they see that well-ordered Christian family, they are befuddled. They are at a loss for words. Look at this. Look at this family. We have nothing to say. It comes from, as it says in the Bible, ordering the family after the Lord. And God saw that Abraham was able to do that. And the only way, friends, that we're going to be able to do that is that morning and evening sacrifice. Bringing up our children, bringing up our families in the fear and admonition of the Lord. And they must see an example from us. No one say amen.
Amen.
They must see an example from us. Is that right?
Amen.
All right. Moving on. Let's go to Genesis chapter 3. Is there anything to add? All right. Genesis chapter 3.
Well, I will add this. We're looking at Genesis chapter 3 because this was the first indication of strife in a family on earth. And you all are familiar with this, so we're going to just share a few extra thoughts that maybe you have thought of and maybe you have not.
Genesis chapter 3. Now we're going to be going through this real quickly. Well, we're here all Bible students, so we should be able to find the books of the Bible relatively quickly. Genesis chapter 3, we see it there, verses 12 and 13. And the man, this is after Adam and Eve, they had sinned, and the Lord comes to them in the Garden of Eden. And there's a little judgment scene right here. And the man said, the woman whom thou gavest to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did what? Eat. And the Lord God said to the woman, what is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, the serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. So we see here that when many will do something that is wrong, they will want to turn and to blame someone else. So what is it you have done? Well, it was the woman that you gave me. So we see here, finger pointed in two directions. One at the woman and one at God. In other words, Lord, I woke up and this was the best I had to choose from. And she came from you, and then she made me eat that apple, so here I am. And then we see the woman, she is putting the blame on the serpent, and certainly doesn't apply finger pointed at God. In other words, Lord, if you hadn't allowed the serpent to be here, I would not have sinned. The man who had cherished his wife so dearly that he intentionally violated God's command in order that he might not be separated from her, now speaks of her with cold and callous dislike or hostility as the woman who thou gavest to be with me. Friends, we have to watch that in our own life. We want to put aside justice. We want when we can't really judge, or we want so quickly to point the finger at everyone else. So as we go through these, we're going to look at some lessons. And certainly the Holy Spirit will impress upon your mind others as well. Number one, take responsibility and don't blame others for your wrong actions. Is that fair?
Amen.
How many have been guilty of pointing the finger? Yeah, but not all the hand, raising the hand. Yes. Two is we want to choose God first. See, Adam did not choose God first. He so loved this woman, but he did not trust God. Oh, my dear beloved, I have to go with this. No, we must trust God. We must choose God first. All right? Moving now to Genesis chapter 13. Genesis 13.
You all don't mind reading the Bible this morning, do you? Because sometimes we can get very passive in the sermon where we just hear the person speak and we're not actively engaged. I know a little bit about learning, and learning says that the more senses you can use, the better you learn. So if you're not just hearing, you're reading and you're seeing, the more these concepts will be implanted in your mind. So prayerfully you'll have your Bible and you'll be looking at it.
God's church should be a Bible reading church, is that right? Not just at church, but at home as well, morning and evening. So we're in Genesis chapter 13, is that right? And as your eyes come down to verse 10, Genesis 13, beginning at verse 10. Genesis 13, verse 10. And this is the story of Lot. Many of you know the story of Lot. And Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered. And everywhere before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, even as the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, and as thou comest unto Zoar. Then Lot chose him all the plain of Jordan, and Lot journeyed east, and they separated themselves, as Lot and Abraham, because they got too big, so they separated themselves, the one from the other. I'm jumping down to verse 13. But the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before the Lord exceedingly. Wow. Wow, that's very disturbing. I won't say much. I want to jump right into this inspired counsel, and then thoughts may come as we continue. It says, if Lot himself had manifested no hesitancy, this is when the angels now have directed him to leave and leave soon. If he had manifested no hesitancy, fathers, the priests of the home, are you listening? The leaders of the family, no hesitancy when God said go, to obey the angel's warning, but had earnestly fled toward the mountains without one word of pleading or remonstrance, his wife also would have made her escape. The influence of his example, what is his example, everyone? The influence of his example would have saved her from sin that sealed her doom. But his hesitancy and delay caused her to lightly regard the divine warning. Men, priests of the home, we have to be very careful. But we have to order our families according to God's leading. And we want to be very careful as leaders in the home what kind of influence that we are showing to our wives, to our children.
There's actually been a study done. I will throw in a little psychology here. There's been a study done. They studied Christians, and they found that the father is the litmus test for the spirituality of the home. They showed that when the father attends church regularly, more than half of the children will stay in the church. When the father is not attending regularly, that drops down very much. And when the father doesn't attend at all, most children will no longer stay as Christians. And that applies to the Seventh-day Adventist Church as well. Now, I'm not doing this to guilt trip those of you who may be single mothers. We'll have hope for you as we talk about the stories. There's a story in the Bible that gives hope for single mothers as a mother who doesn't have a husband who's a spiritual leader. But God's divine order was for the husband to be the spiritual leader of the home. And especially when there are children involved. That has a big impact on the spirituality of the children.
Amen. Let's go quickly to Genesis 19. We're still in Genesis. Now we're moving several books ahead to Genesis 19. And let's look at verses 31 and 32. This now is after they have left now Sodom and Gomorrah, Genesis 19. verses 31, beginning at verse 31, Genesis 19, verse 31. And, of course, as we were saying, they fled Gomorrah. The wife hesitantly, she froze, she turned to look back, and she was turned into a little salt. So now Lot is going up to the mountains with his 2 daughters. Verse 31, and the firstborn said unto the younger. Of course, now Lot is in their place, and I believe he's drunk or at this point in time. And the firstborn said unto the younger, Our father is old, and there is not a man in the earth to come in unto us after the manner of all the earth. Come, let us make our father drink wine, and we will lie with him, that he may preserve seed of our father. Wow. When we read God, it's a blessing that when we read God's word, because we can see that there is not just perfection from Genesis to Revelation. We see a variety of corruption. And those stories, these true accounts that we see from God's word are so that we, it's been said, experience is the best teacher. No. Someone else's experience is the best teacher. And so we have the accounts, the experiences of people from the Bible that the Lord, by His Spirit, want to teach us from. So we can see accounts like this of how these daughters took into their own hands of trying to preserve their family and going against something that is of the order of God.
I just want to briefly say, this is a sensitive topic, and we have children here, so I won't say too much, but incest is a problem, and sometimes it extends to sexual abuse, and that is a growing problem in our church as well. People are violated and taken advantage of, and we see a first example of not a man taking advantage of children, but the daughters taking advantage. But in these days and ages, we have to be ever careful, because more and more women and even young boys are being taken advantage of, and we have to be ever wise. We are not exempt from that at Seventh-day Adventists, and I've sadly spoken to many people who have survived this, and it's only by God's help and power that they can overcome the shame and the blame and the anger that goes on with this. But I can tell you from experience, there is hope, because I have worked with women, and through God's grace, through them getting a hold of who God is and how much He loves them, and even forgiving their perpetrator, they were able to gain some healing from this, and it's possible.
And also, speaking of that, the corruption, those crimes that were in Sodom and Gomorrah, for which Lot and his family fled, those types of sins are infiltrating, have infiltrated, and also are increasing in God's church. And so there again, we want to be prayerful people. We want to see how we can gain resources. We must want people to thus saith the Lord. Amen? Amen. We must not water things down, but we must go forward with the love of God, bringing the straight testimony. But it is the way that it is expressed that will either draw people closer or will turn them away. Some people will run away no matter what you do. But then may the Lord give us wisdom. This is from Patriarchs and Prophets, page 167, 168. The sinful conduct of his daughter, son of Lot, was the result of the evil associations of that place, Sodom. Its moral corruption had become so interwoven with their character that they could not distinguish between good and evil. Now, when we come to that point that we are, because of our associations, cannot associate between good and evil, we have to consider these associations. We have to consider our environment. There should be a clear demarcation between us and the world. Let's look at some quick lessons from this. Well, we want to recognize that our choices can place you directly in the enemy's territory. And sometimes, friends, my younger friends and my not so young friends, we want to ask ourselves, this TV show I'm watching, this video game that I'm playing, this texting that I'm doing in God's house, is it placing me on the enemy's ground? Knowing that the angels of heaven are watching me now, Are they smiling or are they not so happy about my activity now? May the Lord help us. Next, we want to choose carefully where your family will live. You know, I have some good friends, and they lived out in the Caribbean. And they were living in a particular place in the Caribbean, and the parents decided to move to another place. But they sent their child eventually back to the other place where they used to live because the educational opportunities there for their child was not as good in the new place as the old place. So while they were in the new place, their child was in the old place, being trained by some others. Friends, that is not a good familial arrangement. The people are in the new place because of monetary gains. So they should send their child that God needs us to be together. And so we may have to sacrifice some of the money that we get so that we can be together, so that we can train up children according to the will of God. The decisions that family leaders make can affect the spirituality of their spouse, their children, even as eternal results. All right, moving on. Joshua, chapter 7, verse 1. Let's go there quickly. Joshua.
While we're looking, I do want to say this. I know it's not possible for all families, but I can tell you from people with whom I work and my own family, I'll be personal now. It's good to be in a place where your children can get advantages and get the best education, but there are sometimes costs for that. My family came from the Caribbean, and my parents wanted what was best for us, and they brought us up in New York City. I am the only one left who is Seventh-day Adventist in my family. I know another family who had 10 in their family. They raised their children in the country. They are all still in the church. Now, am I saying that everybody who raised in the country stays in the church? No. But I do know, based on my experience and what I've seen, children who are raised away from the corrupting influences, they are going to have more of a make decisions or do things that may lead to a closer walk with God, and also staying in the church. And I want to appeal to our parents to think about where you're raising your children. We don't have parents. I'm sorry, we have parents. We wouldn't be here. We don't have children. But I just have a burden on my heart because I get the call. I'm the one that gets the call saying, my child is doing such and such. How can you help me? And then I start to ask questions about different things and the decisions. And in my heart, it's breaking because I'm saying it's kind of some of the decisions you've made as to why your child is where they are right now. Am I trying to guilt parents? No. I just want to alert you to some of the decisions that you're making, and our mind should be, how will this affect my child spiritually more than how will this help my child be great in the world? And I want to just challenge you to think about that.
You know, my wife and I she's been dealing with this for many, many years. She's been in the church a lot longer than I have been running out in the world being a heathen. But since we've been together, we've been convicted that as we started to read child guidance. So that is one of the books that we're reading right now for our devotional. Other things as well, but that's one of the books. And as she said, we don't have children. We're not looking at having children at this point in our life. And so I met a friend years ago, a doctor, and he told me that child guidance was his favorite book. Now, he had beautiful, beautiful children. I mean, this was a well-ordered family. This is one of those families that I talked about in the beginning, where it says the infidel to look at, they could not gainsay. And so I found out, they invited me over to Sabbath lunch one time, and that he had read and studied child guidance 5 times. He said it was his favorite book. I thought, wow, you were really prepared to be like the perfect leader of your home. He goes, well, yes, true that, but the main purpose I was reading and studying child guidance was so that I could learn and get over my own childhood issues. Because I had a lot of issues growing up. And he said that I see that book could really help me with myself. So that's why he was reading and studying it. So that put something in my mind. I always had in my mind that I would want to do the same thing. My wife had a friend that they said the same thing. So we made a commitment that we would start reading and studying that. And in that book, she talks about adult children. So I have renamed the book, at least in my mind, to my wife, is not only child guidance, but I called it a adult child guidance. So we'll see a lot of counsel for parenting, but we will also see lots of applications that we can apply personally to parents, and those who are not parents. You could be 15 or 17 or 18. You will find by the Spirit of the Lord some application when you read Joshua chapter 1, chapter 7, verse 1. So Joshua chapter 7, verse 1. Here we go. But the children of Israel committed a trespass in the accursed thing of Achan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah, of the tribe of Judah, took of the accursed thing, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against the children of Israel. Now perhaps you might know this story as Achan did this wicked crime of stealing something. Let's go to verse 24 and 25. Verses 24 and 25. And Joshua and all Israel with him took Achan, and this is their judgment is coming now. They are having trouble, and they are looking for the guilty party of this. This is in Joshua and all Israel with him took Achan, the son of Zerah, and the silver and the garment and the wedge of gold, and his sons and his daughters, and his oxen and his asses and his sheep, and the tent and all that he had, and they brought them unto the valley of Achor. And when Joshua said, Why hast thou troubled us? The Lord shall trouble thee this day. And all Israel stoned him with stones, and burned him with fire, after they had stoned them with the stones. They were living in a theocracy then. So we see there a judgment that is quite unlike what may happen today. Let's see what counsel we have on this crime. Achan's parents had educated their son in such a way that he felt free to disobey the word of the Lord. The principles inculcated in his life had led him to deal with his children in such a way that they also were corrupted. Mind acts and reacts upon mind, and the punishment, which included the relations of Achan with himself, reveals that we all were involved in the transgression. Let's look at these lessons real quick here. The consequences of not teaching children to follow God's word can have far-reaching effects. Parenting practices can be passed from one generation to the next.
I used to wonder why Achan's whole family was swallowed up, and Achan was the one who stole the things. But when I read counsel, we see that Achan was taught by his parents to be covetous, and then Achan taught that to his children. And so sometimes we see things happening, and we see our children. And so I've had parents say, "Oh wow, the things I did as a child, my child is doing." And we as parents need to recognize, sometimes we can be very hard on our children, but we need to recognize some of this they learned from me. And you have to be sympathetic with them. Now, I hear that y'all get out early, so we're in a quandary here because we have a few more stories. So what I'm going to do is okay, all right. Nadab and Abihu. Let's look at some examples there. We know the story of Nadab and Abihu. Let's look at it quickly in Leviticus 10, 1, 2, and 6. Some of these we won't be able to read all the Bible verses, but let's just look at this one right here. Leviticus 10, verses 1, 2, and 6. And Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, took either of them his censer, and put fire therein, and put incense thereon, and offered strange fire before the Lord, which he commanded them not. And there went out fire from the Lord, and devoured them, and they died before the Lord. And we'll jump down to verse 6. And Moses said unto Aaron and unto Eleazar and unto Ithamar his sons, Uncover not your heads, neither rend your clothes, lest ye die, and lest wrath come upon all the people. But let your brethren, the whole house of Israel, bewail the burning which the Lord hath kindled. And we know that he told them this after that Nadab and Abihu was killed because they offered strange fire on the altar. But look at this, parents. Nadab and Abihu had not in their youth been trained to habits of self-control. The father's yielding disposition, his lack of firmness for right, had led him to neglect the discipline of his children. And we see that Aaron also had this type of way of leadership when he led the children of Israel into apostasy, or allowed them to go into apostasy. Sometimes the same way leaders lead their homes, we may see it in the church. And this might not only be for ministers. We're not just talking about ministers. Leaders in any setting. Sometimes you can tell a little bit about how they're going to lead a church by how they lead their home. That's a great responsibility. We need to pray for our leaders, brothers and sisters, because they are looked at more than some of us because they're up front all the time. Eli is another example. And you know the story of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, who was killed in battle. Eli had instructed his children in the law of God and had given them a good example in his own life. He was a good example. But she says, this was not his whole duty. God required him, both as a father and a priest, to restrain them from following their own perverse will. This he had failed to do. So we see these children eventually dying because the parents were permissive in their parenting. Grave consequences. Psychologists actually have this right. I'm saying this because a lot that I learned in getting my doctorate was wrong based on Bible and Spirit of prophecy. But I do like the science in psychology that goes along with Bible and Spirit of prophecy. Look at this. They tell us that permissive parenting often results in children who rank low in happiness and self-regulation. Self-regulation means children who are able to control their behavior, their emotions, their thoughts. When you permissively parent your child, when you let your child do whatever they want, when your child gets older, they will have problems with self-control. In fact, there was a research study done about this, and if you come tomorrow, you'll hear about it. These children are more likely to experience problems with authority and tend to perform poorly in school. So permissive parenting has its grave results. This is not exactly related to permissive parenting, but this is something related kind of to this whole movement of self-esteem that I thought I wanted to share too. Since the 1970s, the proponents of self-esteem, helping kids merely feel good about themselves, only fostered self-centeredness with no respect for others' feelings and wants. What is needed is for parents to help their kids develop self-respect. This means the parent focuses on what a child must become rather than merely what he or she wants. And I see the results of this, and I can tell often when I'm dealing with young people what type of parenting style the parents have. And I admonish you, encourage your parents that we